This piece of equipment is known as the steam jacket kettle. It uses electricity to heat water, which is inside of an outer and an inner liner. That water heats up to a boil and creates steam. You put your product inside, and that is what cooks the food. It is an indirect steam heat. This is great for using for making cream sauces or cream soups because the milk, which tends to scorch and burn, will less likely do so in this piece of equipment. Be careful when you're using it. The outside gets very, very hot. This will heat up within about 60 seconds and be ready to use, so you want to be careful. To turn the machine on, there's a black dial that will read off and then 1 through 10. Normally when you use it, you're going to preheat to the 10 heat. Once your product starts boiling, you will turn it down to 7. Okay, so preheat it, then turn it down once your product starts to boil. If you turn it down too early, your product will not come to a boil rapidly, and it will take much longer for it to cook. This is a tilting unit. When you're going to empty, you can very simply just lean the steam jacket kettle over and pour your product out. However, be careful when doing so. If you have an item like a cream of potato soup, you will get lots of splatters and can possibly burn yourself. So underneath of here, we keep milk crates. You can raise the level of your pot and make it so it doesn't have as far to travel, or you can use something to scoop the product out with. When you are done cleaning this, or done using it, and are ready to clean it, there is a faucet located right next to the machine, which has a hot and a cold water. Make sure you turn the machine on. You should instantly fill it with cold water. That way it will start to help the product, if there's anything stuck on the inside, to be released off. When you're ready to clean it, empty that water out. You can empty it into a bucket or a pot, whatever is convenient for you. On the inside of this, we will very simply use a mild soapy detergent, and then again on the outside, we will use that same cleaning agent, the mild soapy detergent. When you are operating it, there is a tube on the back side here that is a clear plastic tube. Before you begin working with the unit, always check that tube. Make sure that it is about a half to 1/4 full of water. That is an indicator tube letting us know how much water is in there. If there is not enough water in it, it is not going to properly work, and the unit itself will heat up and the casing will possibly crack if the metal gets too hot. There is also a pressure dial on the back side here. If you ever see the pressure spiking up above 20 psi rapidly, that is a sign that there is too much pressure and it will be released. There is a relief valve on the back side of this machine that if the pressure gets too high, it's going to release that. If the steam starts coming out, do not try and do anything. You will burn yourself. So just kind of take a step back. If you can, turn the machine off so that way it doesn't keep creating steam. But do not put yourself in harm's way. Again, this is great for making our cream soups and cream sauces, where you could boil things in here, potatoes, pasta, things like that. The machine right next to it is very similar, just in a larger quantity. The steam jacket kettle will hold about 5 gallons. The Trunnion kettle will hold about 20 gallons. To operate the Trunnion kettle, there are 2 things that you must do to get it operational. First, it has to be completely in the vertical position and not leaning over. Okay? So double check that, give the handle a turn, make sure it's all the way down. There is a switch that says on and off. You're going to turn it to the on position, and then the dial on the bottom will read off, and then 1 through 10, same as the steam jacket kettle. You will hear that clicking noise when it turns on and off, and then the dial or the light will illuminate. If you do not hear that click or see that light, the machine is not on. It cooks in the same manner. We have an outer liner and an inner liner with water in between. The steam jacket or the Trunnion kettle is a much bigger version, but it can do all of the same things. Most commonly, we're going to make our homemade chicken stocks in these, but we could boil a large batch of potatoes or cook a large quantity of pasta in it. The Trunnion Kettle does have a spigot on the front of it. Please feel free to use that. However, you do not want to pour any solid waste down the drain that is on the floor. For instance, if you're making a chicken stock, you don't want to pour any pieces of chicken down that drain. We want to remove it into a bucket or a pot and then put it down a garbage disposal. This is mainly just for collecting water. To clean it, we're going to use our mild soapy detergent on the inside and the outside, just like we use for the steam jacket kettle. You can strain any liquid through the spigot into the pot, and when you do things like the chicken stock, that is what I'm going to require you to do. This pot tilts as well, so all you have to do is turn the handle and it will tilt all the way down and dump the product out into hotel pan, bucket, stock pot, whatever you would like to store it. While this is tilting, it will not operate, so you must make sure that it is in a complete vertical position. As soon as I start to tilt it, the power goes off to the machine and it will no longer heat. That is why it is essential that you make sure it is in the vertical position before you begin. Careful when you're opening this lid. If you have an item in there that is boiling and you open the lid, you could have a large amount of steam entering or exiting the pot towards you. So it's always a good practice to kind of stand back, open the lid, let the steam escape. You really want to keep an eye on your product while you are using these pieces of equipment. Things like milk, stock, that when they start boiling, they will expand and boil over. So you always want to make sure you stay close to these pieces of machinery. Do not have them on high and then walk away for an extended period of time. One, your product is probably going to burn, and two, there's a very good chance of these items boiling over and spilling onto the floor. Again, this is the steam jacket kettle and the Trunnion kettle.